Hello guys, and welcome to Always on the Ball. Now this is a bit of another just general AFL video. This is just I've seen a couple of other people do it. This is my opinions on where the 20th AFL team could be, because there's been lots of talk about the AFL evening up the competition and putting a 20th team in so there's no buys and it just works a lot better. Now, yeah, as I said, lots of other people have done this idea, but I have got a few unique ideas as well. So let's get into it. The first team or option is a third WA team. Now, there is a couple of options for a third WA team. The ones I've listed are probably Bunbury, Geraldton, Broome, or Joondalup. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. Now, probably the most likely one is Joondalup, and probably most likely to take the Falcons' name after West Perth FC, who currently play in the suburb of Joondalup. Moving on to the stadium. Now, there is a couple of options for this one, but they could play at the Wacker, or they could play at Optus, but I reckon they could play 50-50 and play at Pentanet Stadium against like Gold Coast and GWS and crowd teams that won't attract much of a crowd, and then play at Optus when they're playing, well, obviously Fremantle and West Coast, but also when they're playing big Victorian clubs that would have a decent following in Perth. So I reckon that's how they could structure their stadium position. Next one, Guernsey. Now, my ideas, they don't look the best, but just getting a scale of what I think. Home jumper, I think they could use what like Port Melbourne use, using red and blue stripes. And their clash tops when they play like Melbourne or Carlton, wear just blue with a like swooping falcon, and then just red with a swooping falcon. Now, finally, the pros and cons. First of all, only small stadium upgrades needed, like they probably would need to upgrade Penitent Stadium a tiny bit. Enough population to support 3 teams, established waffle team. The talent is there, and it ruins the Western Derby, so that's, well, it doesn't, but yeah. Similar colours to Melbourne and similar identity to Hawthorn and Adelaide. So there's the pros and cons. Moving on to the next one, we have South Australia. Third South Australia team. It's the second option. Now, the options for this are probably North Adelaide, Glenelg or Norwood, but I'm going to go with Norwood, given they've already stated interest. Stadium, they would most likely play at Norwood Oval, so that makes sense, and probably 50-50 with Adelaide Oval. And as I said, a bit like Joondalup plays smaller teams at Norwood, the bigger teams at Adelaide. Jumpers keep the same, but I'm going back to an old home top for their clash top. So the current home top in the SANFL as their home top, and their clash top is a home top from the 2000s. So if they're playing a blue team, then they've got more red, and then if they're playing a red team, they just wear their home top with the monogram on it. And then pros and cons. Already showed interest, 2 good stadiums, already have supporters, established clubs, and they'd have a feeder team in the SANFL. It ruins the showdown, similar colours to Melbourne and Carlton. Would crowds at Adelaide Oval be big enough with 2 teams already in South Australia? The next option, ACT plus or Canberra team. Couple of name ideas. A lot of people called them the Canberra Capitals, but you could call them like the Canberra Cavaliers or Canberra Crusaders. So I'm actually going to go an out there one. I'm going to go the Canberra Cavaliers. Their stadium, Manica Oval, makes a lot of sense. Already hosts 3 AFL games a year, so it could probably sustain a team. It's probably good capacity for a starting team. Jumper. Now this is a cool Guernsey design used by the Canberra Demons, the NEFL team. It's kind of got Parliament House using the state colours. You would think they would use the state colours of the ACT, and it's not too similar to any other AFL team. And then pros and cons. They already have suitable stadium, enough population for a strong fan base, but rugby league is dominant, and rugby union already having teams, and it can get very cold in the winter at night time. Option 4, Northern Territory team. The name, look, I'm going to call it the whole Northern Territory so they can probably get more supporters. I've got a logo idea using the state colours. Darwin Crocs is also another, but I'm going to call them the NT Flame. Stadium, TAO Traeger Park and TAO Stadium. They can probably play like 5 and 6 or 4 and 7. I imagine though they'd play more of their games in Darwin, given it's got a bigger population. Jumper. Well, this is the NT state team, and it suits the name, so they could probably use something pretty similar to this, with like a fire, with like a black backing and like a bit of white somewhere. And then finally, the pros and cons. Already have 2 suitable stadiums. Talent is already there, and there is enough footy supporters in the NT. Hot weather, very hot and humid weather. It is cricket season in the winter, so I think they play the TIO stadium games 2 weeks in a row. Well, actually, no, they use a separate ground for cricket. So that could probably work. And then there's still a small population. Finally, North Queensland team, option 5. This is probably the least talked about, but there is more interest in Queensland footy than there was 10 years ago, especially with the Lions making it to the grand final. 2 options, the North Queensland Crocs, but the option I've went with is the North Queensland Quakers. It's just like a nice name, and North Queensland covers the whole region, which would then mean probably more supporters. Stadiums, Riverway Stadium, which has hosted 1 AFL game but could be upgraded to host more, and Kazali Stadium, which has previously hosted quite a few AFL games and could probably host a team there. The jumpers, this is just an idea I've come up with. It's a cool design idea, incorporating unique colours. When I think of North Queensland, I think of rainforest on the coast, so I think of green and teal, so this could be a cool jumper design, not similar to any other in the AFL, and the colours don't really clash with any teams. It's in the Tassie Devils, but they're using light green and teal, so it would be pretty unique and pretty cool. Pros and cons, final bit of the video. Got good quality stadiums, big population where footy's starting to become popular, hot weather, competing with rugby, and big distance between stadiums because it's quite big area, North Queensland. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Help me reach my goal of 100 subscribers. Thanks for watching Ollie's on the Ball, and see you next time.